Hey guys, doing a video on making salsa, and I got this recipe from a friend of mine. His mom had made some, and she wrote it down. And takes 25 medium-sized tomatoes, 3 medium-sized onions chopped up, 8 jalapeno peppers, and the way you blend the heat is with the seeds of the jalapeno peppers. If you don't like a lot of heat, you want it mild, that's the way I fix it, because my wife, her stomach is real sensitive to peppers and stuff, real hot. So I just take the seeds out and just put the peppers in there, and it's pretty good like that. And then take a tablespoon of canning salt, a half a tablespoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of Mrs. Dash, 1 1/4 cups of white vinegar, and 6 bell peppers, sweet bell peppers. And pretty well what you do is you peel the tomatoes, and the way I do that, I was going to show it and I got ahead of myself, is I cut the tops off and core all my tomatoes. I put them in my sink. I clean my sink before I put them in there. Then I boiled this pot that I've got my sauce in right now. I boiled it with hot boiling water and poured it in on top of my tomatoes and let them sit there for about 5-10 minutes. And that fills my sink about halfway full. Then I turn my cold water on through my faucet and fill it up just about to the top. And that cools them down, and what that does is that splits the skins off, and you can just pull those skins right off there. And then by that time, this pot is cooled down. I have it in the other side of my sink, and I quarter the tomatoes up, and I throw them in here in this pot. And I have one of those Vidalia onion choppers, and that's what I chop all my peppers and onions with. And then I add all this together. Now this is not the total amount of this recipe. I had some salsa that I made last year, and it had all the same ingredients except for the seasonings. It was different seasonings, and it really didn't have much of a taste. So I had like 5 quarts of it, and I just poured it in here, and I doubled the seasonings. So I made a batch of this the other day, and it was about half the size of this pot. So, and I got, I think, 2 quarts and a pint of salsa, which I like it thick. I don't really like it that runny. And I drained all the juice off of it. And I got 2. That's one of the Tostito salsa jars. It's kind of in between a pint and a quart. I got 1 full quart, a little bit more than a half a pint, and then this jar full of just the juice. And I'm going to add this in to the juice that I take off of this salsa, and I'm going to boil it down and try to make a batch and see if I can use it for like a taco sauce. And but anyhow, after you bring this to a boil and you let it boil for 1 hour. And then what you have, your jars, which I've got these. This is very hot water. These have already been sterilized. Sterilize them in my dishwasher, and then I've boiled them in hot boiling water. I put like you would a hot water bath canner, and then I've got them in this sink, so the jars will be warm when the sauce is done. And of course I've got my lids. I'm going to boil my lids, sterilize them. And what I'll do is I'll just transfer the salsa to the jars, lid them, then you turn them upside down, and as they cool, they'll seal off. I know on YouTube you see a lot of people pressure canning or hot water bath canning. With this process, you really don't have to do that. Now, I'm not saying that's the USDA is going to say, yeah, that's the right way to do it. it seals the jar off. Everything's to a certain temperature, and it even in these directions. That's the way the lady. That's the way she does it. That's the way I do my tomato juice, my canned tomatoes. You know, green beans. Of course, you don't do that. You can them. Potatoes, you can them. But this tomato juice, I don't know if it's where it's got the acid in it, but it seals it off. I've never known anybody to get sick from this process, but I'm not telling you to do it like this. So you can read between the lines. But this is how I do it. Like you see, it's boiling pretty good. It started boiling about 5 minutes ago, right before I started this video. And I'm going to let this boil for an hour, and I'll have everything ready, and we'll be at the next step. Okay guys, it's right now 12 o'clock, and I'm going to start scooping this. I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to start scooping this into this colander that's sitting down inside of another pot. Might steam the lens up a little bit here. I'm basically just getting the juice off of it. And you don't have to do this. This is just the way I like my salsa. Now I'll fill the jars up, and I'll put just a little bit of juice in there, just to kind of level the jars off. Okay guys, I've got this about the consistency that I like it. And I'm going to start putting it over into the jars. And I've got it up, this colander up on top of this other pot, draining the juice off of it. Okay, it's steaming hot, so I'm going to turn this off, and I'll ladle these in here, and I'll show you this process. Basically, everybody gets this concept. Okay, there back. Okay guys, I got the salsa ladled in here. And I'm going to put just a little bit of juice, kind of get my space the way I want it. That making a mess. This is kind of messy to make this stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna throw my lids and rings on there right quick. I'll clean the seal off on top of the jar. Put my rings on there, tighten them up. Okay guys, I got the lids tightened up, just hand tight. Bring them over here. This hutch I made. Yes, I made every bit of this. Turn them upside down, just like that. Now this stuff is very hot. You gotta be careful. You don't want to burn yourself. But right now the time is 11 minutes after 12. I've got my juice on right now, and I'm gonna put it on medium heat until it boils down to where it's a consistency that I want. And then I'm gonna jar this up. I'll be back. Okay guys, it's 12:59 now, and I'm going to check and see if my jars have sealed off yet. I turned them upside down like I said for a couple of minutes. Yep, they're sealed. Might be something to do with those good lids too. But like I said, I turn them upside down for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'll turn them up the other way, and you can see it's bubbling in there and stuff. It's cooled down now. Now they've all sealed off. So that's the salsa. Now it's delicious. I've got a pint jar in the refrigerator that I've been eating on, and so I've got 5 quarts of it. I'll probably try to make about 2 more messes of it. I'd like to have about 20 quarts of it going into winter, and cause it's delicious. And I could eat a jar of this. I take a jar of it to work with me. I work 12-hour shifts on the weekends, and I could eat a jar of this throughout the whole weekend. And then while I was doing all this, after my last clip, I jumped in and thought I'd make some zucchini bread. And I use Tim J. Turner YouTube channel. He makes some. And it usually turns out great. But my little girl, as some of you have seen other videos, she's got into ballerina. She's in pre-ballerina class, and she decided to do a big jump right across the kitchen as I was cooking this, and every loaf fell. But I made up enough for 4 loaves. I adjusted this recipe to compensate, but every loaf fell. That's going to happen. But these 3 loaves are going to the freezer. And then this big loaf here, I'll cut half of it. I'll take half to work with me, the guys I work with. And then I'll leave the other half here and we'll eat on here at home. I've got this juice, it's boiling. I'm just going to let it boil down until it thickens up. I just kind of stir it every now and then. I'm going to try to get this kitchen cleaned up while this finishes up, but I got to start getting ready for work about 2 o'clock. And I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, I've got this boiled down. It's about the way I'm wanting it right there. You can see the ring on the inside of the pot. It's reduced down probably about an inch, inch and a half, something like that. So the next step is put it over into some warm jars. Okay, get me a ring, and a lid. Get me a rag and wipe the top of the jar. That's it. All you just want to put it a little bit tighter than what I got it there, but it's kind of hard to do that. Hold the camera. I'm going to jar these up, guys, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, guys, this is what I got done today. Got 3 quarts of salsa, 3 quarts and a half a pint of like the taco sauce. You see, it's pretty thick. It's still cooling, so it's a little hot to hold. And then I got 3 flat loaves of zucchini bread. I'll throw them in the freezer. They'll be good, just the same. Now guys, thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe.